Apparently. I'll tell you now. I don't see anything.
It's not so bad now. There's not many people watching the recording. They'd be like,
there we go. It's live now. So
cool.
I think you have me watching.
Central and I don't know what that means.
Okay, cool.
Go to Central and
Oh God!
There we go.
And I can't turn it off now. Okay, cool.
Good evening, guys.
We'll give it a few minutes because I don't think there's anyone.
We don't know if there's anyone on, but if you're watching the recording, good evening as well. Welcome to this live. We haven't done one of these in about a year. I'm Alex. This is Amy. We're coming to you from the snowy mountains of Andorra at the moment, and we've got the pleasure of being with Em and Lou from Campervibe tonight.
Can everyone see us at the same time? I'd love to know what's on the screen.
Can you have a quick look?
Because it's just us, I think. I didn't think you can see them. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I've not. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Emily!
There we go. Thank you so much.
again. It's hilarious when you haven't done these for so long, isn't it? And then you're just trying to like get yourself through it and stuff. It's
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. And technology's been just so quick as well. So fast. So the purpose of these lives is kind of to give people an idea. Obviously, one of the things we get in the group quite often is how to make money with YouTube, and that's something that you guys obviously create amazing content. We love it. So we thought you were great, and you've just hit 40k subscribers.
Congratulations,
as well,
guys!
Congrats!
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, massive, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. We were so surprised. I just couldn't believe it. To be fair,
You're
40,000 people.
Yeah. And what's nice is you've got the views are like consistent with your subscribers as well, which you don't see on many channels.
Yeah, that's quite rare. It's like nice and stable, and so it's going to be really good to chat to you about.
Yeah, I think we get to YouTube in a bit, right?
Yeah. I can see there's a few people watching, which is nice.
Oh, that's good. Someone's
It's not just us.
There's this thing. Do you remember this thing about the comment and stuff? Okay, so people watching, there's a restriction with some sort of Facebook privacy thing. So we can't see who you are when you comment unless I'm going to share this link here. Send this, and this link I'm sharing now should come up in the comments on Facebook Live and maybe YouTube Live.
YouTube as well,
if you click that link, it will allow us to see your username who's commenting. So
yeah, it's a bit of a.
Can you see the comments, Lou?
Yeah,
on Facebook. Yeah.
Lou's just having a look now. We can't see it on like the phone that we're obviously
Okay.
Yeah. But we can see it from Facebook.
Okay. If you see anything you fancy putting in, feel free.
Yeah, I tend to talk a lot by accident, so
no.
Please. Okay, cool. So one of the things that I'm really interested in finding out about is, Emily, you've taken your normal job, I would say, remote, right? And that's something I've been looking into for a book that we're doing. So I'd love to find out, how did you go about that transition?
Oh, it was super scary. Yeah. It was scary for sort of my own reasons of downsizing my job, but also approaching my boss to do it as well.
Yeah.
So it happened like last year in June time, but I had to kind of go to him because we decided, didn't we, after going away in Europe the first time back in 2020, that we wanted to do it more often. So I decided that working full time was not going to be an option anyway. So to be able to do YouTube and travel and work, but I love my job so much, so I wanted to try and see if I could stay in that position. So I came up with a little bit of a plan. There was only two options. It was part-time remote or I leave, basically. That was the two options.
Is that what you said to them?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But it was kind of I had them two options, but I had to sort of go with them with a plan of how I would make it work and why I thought it would work. And I also done the pros and the cons, so not just, it's going to be great, I can still do this, I can still do that. I had to think of the things that I thought could go wrong and say then how I would then sort of try and sort them out or think about them, i.e. up a mountain and you've got no signal.
Okay.
One of the biggest things, isn't it? You know, so
Wales. Wales. Anywhere in Wales, basically.
It's funny, isn't it? Like you were saying, you're all around Europe, you can be in the middle of nowhere and you've got 4G, and then in Wales.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous,
Oh, it's
honestly.
crazy.
Yeah, that's, to be fair, over this past, like, however many months, that's the hardest I've found it, to the point where I was going up onto the top of the hills in the wind was blowing. I had like my hood open on the phone, like, in the corner, trying to like speak to people on the phone and stuff, because yeah, the signal was hard. But yeah, no, so I had to go with him with a proposal, basically, with how I think it would work, what I thought would be the downsides and how we could overcome that, and a trial period. I had to be flexible as well. So there was a couple of things that he wanted from me in order to be able to try it. He wanted some like touch days and stuff, so that basically once a month I'd go into the office, or when when we was away, I don't know if you saw, I flew back to the UK to do like one of the big events and stuff.
Okay,
so
right.
I committed to them types of things. So he knew that I was out of the country, but it was still certain things that I committed to in order to come back. And to be fair, like, they paid for all of my flights and all of that. Yeah.
Fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Enough, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Really
Yeah.
good. So if anyone's curious, what is it that what area do you work in?
So I work in operations and project management.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I basically run all of our crews, our site guys, speak to all of our clients to organise all of the jobs, and yeah, just from start to finish, really, just manage the whole thing. So something that you would think you couldn't do part-time, but it's all about how you organise your time.
Yeah. And how have you found it moving from like an office environment to then having to manage yourself?
I love it. Yeah, because I think when you're in an office, you because we're in an open planned office, you get distracted so easily from people speaking to you, and it's easier for somebody to call out across the office, what's that, and you answer it, rather than them finding the information themselves. Because when I'm away, they don't do that. So rather than me having to stop what I'm doing every 5 minutes to help somebody out, they end up helping themselves out, and then my time is more productive. So I actually get my job done in a part-time role, which would have taken me a full-time role if I was in the office.
Okay, yeah, it's an interesting way to look at it, really, because you think of these things with all of the negatives, how it's going to affect your boss, for example, how they're going to look at it. But it's so nice to hear you come away from it and feel like you're working better. Like,
definitely, I am way more productive with my time management, because I know that I've got a shorter window to do it in, and I just don't have the distractions of people constantly coming over to my desk, or you getting involved in little chit chats. The hardest part is when we park up at a beach.
Yeah, for sure. So do you always work from the van, or do you find other locations you prefer having your own quiet space in the van, or do you go to like a coffee shop, etc.?
So I prefer, because I do a lot of my work on the phone as well as online, I prefer to do it in the van, because then you haven't got the chatter of like everybody else around you and stuff. So, but as well, I can do it while we're driving, because I've got my laptop, so I just sit in front, I put my earbuds in, so I'm on the phone and that, and I can't hear her, which is even better.
Nice, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Exactly.
So there's a question, we've touched on it briefly with you being in Wales. There's a question in the comments that someone's concerned about finding Wi-Fi. So what do you use, and how do you kind of get around those issues if they ever crop up?
So we've got a antenna on the roof, a 5G ready one, which is from a company called Motorhome Wi-Fi. It's very expensive, but it's probably the best one we could find at the time, and it's extremely reliable. But our whole Wi-Fi setup probably cost us about £500, I think. But £500, we both work 100% online, so over the course of the year, that's negligible. That feeds into a router that's got an EE. At the moment, we're with EE. It's got an EE SIM. And so far, apart from in this country, we've got a signal at every single park up we've ever been to, haven't we? In Europe, just Wales, and a few places, even in England, even in built-up areas. Sometimes it's crap, isn't it?
Yeah, surprisingly, England has been the worst place for signal. And yeah, if you've seen some of the YouTube like videos and that, you know that we've been to proper remote places and stuff, and are not struggled with signal at all. It just blows my mind.
Bizarre. It is really bizarre. Okay, so before we get on to YouTube, which is I think what everyone wants to know about, and what would be your advice if I wanted to take my job remote and I was scared of going to my boss, what advice would you give me?
I'd say sit down, make a plan. So you've got to think about like what you want as your end goal, and give them options and go in there being flexible. So you know what you want to achieve, but have a little wiggle room in that as well. It's a little bit like when you go into a sales and you go in to buy a car and stuff. The car salesman will always say it's £10,000, but it's willing to take 6,000. And that's the only way that I can explain it, is basically go in there. Yeah, that's it. But have a little wiggle room in the back of your head and throw them ideas if they're hesitating again, like around it and stuff. So, well, what about if I do this as well? What about if I do that?
Yeah, so I think what you did is you sort of said how it's going to benefit the employer, how it's going to improve your life, the obstacles that you're inevitably going to face, and how you're going to overcome them. And I think if you can cover all that, then it's very hard for them to then argue with you.
Yeah, definitely. And that is how I made it. I just made it so that he had to agree to the 6-month trial, and then I've passed that. Now I do all the
time. Brilliant.
I think COVID as well, if anyone's thinking about it, now's the time, because COVID, remote working, it's so fresh in everyone's minds that most of the jobs have kind of proved they can be done remotely.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. Cool. Well, I'll let you take the YouTube side of things.
Okay. Some knowledge. Yeah, I'll just leave
now. What? Obviously, as we said before, congratulations on the 40k, guys. That's like the main thing I wanted to say to you, really, and keeping like the views up at that level as well. Thumbnails.
Yours are brilliant. I love them so much.
Thumbnail titles are 95% of it. Well, 90% of it. I think certainly getting growing. If you want to grow, you've got to place your thumbnails and your titles correctly.
Okay, so how do you go about doing your thumbnails and your titles? Do you have a little brainstorm together and think, okay, what are we going to call this one? Or do you because when we've made videos together in the past, we've forgotten every single time.
We'll film a video and then we get to we're about to publish it in 10 minutes, like thumbnail.
Oh no.
and it's a big problem. It does suffer because of it. So do you plan the thumbnails ahead, or do you do what we do?
It took us about, I'd say, 18 months to realise that we need to be thinking about thumbnails before 10 minutes before the video, so to speak, and not just getting a screen grab from the video and just thinking that'll do. So 9 times out of 10, we're filming like on a week-by-week basis, so it's a vlog, so it's kind of what happens in that week. But as the video starts to build, you think, oh, hang on, this has happened. Let's try and make that a theme, and then we can of the video, and then we can base the thumbnail around that theme.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'll have video ideas in advance, and I've got the thumbnail and the title before we've even picked up the camera. So it's a mix of both. If you've got a great idea, especially with like an informational video where you want to give people information, normally I'll have the thumbnail and the title first, and then we'll film the video. But with the vlogs, I kind of wait and see what...
It kind of comes a little bit naturally, doesn't it?
But once I've got the idea, once I kind of think, well, this video is going in that direction, then I start... So maybe halfway through the video, I'll start thinking, right, we need a thumbnail and a title that's going to reflect this and make people want to watch it at the same time. So thumbnails and titles is hard, and it's something we still struggle with, isn't it?
Some of your titles are brilliant. I think especially how because keywords are important in search. One of the ones where you have female-ish, solo-ish, female-ish. It's just brilliant. It's so comical as well.
And there's clickbaity stuff, but it's done in style. It's clickbaity, but you get to it.
It's really frustrating because you have to be a certain amount of clickbait. I think as long as there's a reward for that clickbait, so to speak, and it's not too far away from what you've said, you'll kind of get away with it. But if you are just putting out you know, I had the most worst week ever, and you've lost your bloody teaspoon down the back of the cooker. People ain't but they're not going to. They're going to be like, hang on a minute, I've just watched 25 minutes of you waffling on. But if you can make that clickbaity title relate to what you're actually putting in your video, you will get away with it. But you do need that hook, that click hook.
Yeah, it's the way that I always think about it is if I'm scrolling through Netflix, because I often do, and it's all about what I look at, what I see on that first picture, and then first few sentences, isn't it? So
and they change them, don't they?
Yeah,
they A/B test the thumbnails. I'm like, I haven't seen this before.
Yes,
I've seen it.
So they do it. They change it up. So if there's something that's not like, so you do.
It's really hard, especially in the van life niche, because you're competing with so many other channels that you've got to do something to make your video stand out that little bit. So faces are always quite important. If you can put a facial expression, that always tends to
do better than just the van.
At the end of the day, we're humans, aren't we? And we respond to emotions. So I think that's an important thing to remember for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, if anyone's starting out,
it's a big head in it.
This camera.
It's annoying, yeah.
That's all right. You're better looking anyway.
Yeah.
That was room for compliments there, but you didn't catch on. Okay, so when you like you said earlier, if you've got like a sit down video, planned out video versus a vlog, we'd be really curious to know when you're vlogging, how much of that vlog is planned or scripted, so to say. Do you kind of just film everything and then go, okay, this is the story, or do you kind of build it as you go along?
So I think I'm different to most people. I will build it as I go along. So we'll just start filming, like on day one, we'll start filming, and then like nothing's scripted in our vlogs, it's all just natural, but some of it is planned. So say we've been out all day filming, I don't know, at the beach or something, and then we're going to start filming in the van. I always know that I want to get some sort of B-roll or something to get me from A to B and like from day to day. So those shots are planned, as in I think, well, I don't want to cut from there and then all of a sudden we're like 200 miles up the road doing something else in different clothes. I always want to give the viewer a chance to figure out for themselves, like they're moving on to so and so it's got that story, but the actual anything that where we're talking is all just filmed off the cuff, and then in the edit I'll cut out the boring bits, which is usually quite a lot, and keeping anything that I think is either relevant or entertaining or funny or emotional or important in any way.
Yeah,
onto the story.
We have like over the last 2 years I think it's really important that you go back and watch old vlogs.
Okay.
So you can see the things that you would do, and it's so cringeworthy.
Like, why did I leave that in?
yeah.
No one gives a shit, Lou, about your 20-minute waffle on the back, right? And you think, why did it? But you learn these things.
Yeah. And there's things like
all of that.
It's nice because, like, you know, like we watch your guys' videos and we're like, how do they talk that much, like without cutting, without like blabbling, without umming and ahhing? Because we go off tangents so much. So it like it's nice to see the natural, like now it's nice to see the natural parts, but yeah, you have to get better at making a story more fluid, and you guys do that so well.
She's made me watch so many of our, like,
we're getting better at it. I mean, sometimes, like, so say I was saying we'll say, right, we need to get a bit of film to get us from this bit to this bit, and I'll say to you, well, we just need to say that we're moving from here to here. We don't want to waffle, so just maybe in your mind, we never write anything down, but in your mind, just basic bullet points, right? I want to say this and this, and then that's it. We need to be somewhere else. So
so say like we're moving on in the morning and I've got the camera and I'm sitting in the driver's seat. She'll say, right, you need to don't waffle too much. You just need to say we're moving. I'm like, okay.
I think it helps being in a pair as well, because from me like vlogging on my own and then starting to do it with Amy, and she's like, why are you leaving that in? And I'm like, it's important.
He tried to put in like a 2.5 minute clip of a beetle rolling on its back. What? Why is this relevant at all?
Beetle. But
huge. In his day, that was a big part of the day for him. I'm sure. So
the stories.
It got in there somehow.
When you first started, you guys.
I'm just like, I'm here for Sen. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think most people are here for AJ. to be fair. It's just
Yeah, we could probably put a 20-minute clip of AJ in and get away with it.
Yeah, and I
Isn't it?
reckon we could have
It's hard
said as well.
to not put too much of him in. But
Yeah,
then people
for
love them as well, you
sure.
know. So like,
Oh, honestly, yeah, I'd way rather watch like half hour of Sen and AJ.
Well, there's a club for you right there when we're back. Okay, Sen and AJ take on Wales.
when you did first start, was it like a hobby, or did you plan for it to be an income?
So when we started YouTube, I wasn't really that interested. We had,
Really?
I know, right? We had an Instagram
Which
account.
idea was it to start?
Mine.
Yeah,
Oh,
I had a
wow.
complete other impression.
Yeah, we would have thought it was the other way around. Okay.
Oh, it is now. I'm very much the driving force now.
Oh
aren't I?
yeah,
But-
I'm not allowed to touch like the editing. I'm nowhere near her league. So
no, so yeah, you wanted to do it. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be on camera doing it, but we had an Instagram that did all right with our first van build, and we was getting so many questions from women like wanting to do a build and didn't have confidence. So instead of me keep answering the questions, I said, well, do you know what? If you want to film something, we'll film the build, and that'll be that. And I didn't realise that you could make an income even at our current size. I thought you had to have like hundreds of thousands of subscribers to be able to make an income. So it didn't occur to me it was possible. But then lockdown came and I got made furloughed and I had nothing else to do. And I was just finishing the build. So I just got into the filming just to keep me busy. And then I really developed a passion for it. And then from that, we started earning a bit of money. And I said to you, do you know what? If we can use this just to make like what I call fun money, just spending money for like fun things, then great. And then it's just kind of spiraled from there, hasn't it?
yeah, because before COVID, and before even YouTube, we had saved up and planned to take a year off and go traveling anyway. So we had the backup money there, like for the transition period, wasn't it?
Yeah,
really?
so I said, well, do you know what? We're making money. I don't want to go and look for a job while COVID was kicking right off. So we just said, well, we've got the money. So I just carried on making the videos, and it's just kind of happened. But I think it happens from a passion for doing it. I think you've got to enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For it to work. So,
And something you definitely have to enjoy it, right?
Yeah. Like the travel comes first for us, because that's the whole point of why we had the previous van, why we had tents and things like that. So it's kind of like the vlogging comes second.
yeah, I think you can easily tell when someone's doing it just for money as opposed to someone that enjoys it and is also making money. I think you can pretty much see that from most channels.
Yeah, I think so.
If you want to do a van life vlog just to make money, then you ain't gonna. Because let's be honest, van life's actually one of the hardest niche. A vlog is one of the hardest ones to make money and develop.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of people on it now.
So go on, I can feel you.
Do you ever find the filming gets in the way of traveling?
Sometimes, I'll be honest, yeah. Sometimes I think, do you know what? Because sometimes you might only have a day at a spot. Like you might think, well, we can't really stay here for 2 days. And sometimes you do think, I just want to enjoy it. But at the same time, you think, well, I don't want to not film it because it's one of the most amazing places we've ever been. So there are odd times where I think, it'd be nice if I didn't have to film this today. But then on the flip side, I think, well, I can't not film it because it's so nice. There are odd occasions.
Yeah. Because we've always said, we're going like we want to go on like a big holiday or something like that, and we're like, yeah, we'll take the time off. But then we're like, well, actually, we want to share it. We want to show how amazing it is. So you're always fighting that sometimes, aren't you?
Yeah. So sometimes and with Emily's job, sometimes it's difficult because like we can't film at certain hours of the day, and then we have to make sure we've got internet for Emily's job. So it's in Wales, it was quite hard because I was trying to drive around to find you internet and then squeeze in the film in at the right times of the day, in between the weather and the shortest days of the year. And it did get a bit hectic then, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that's when I wanted my own van.
We've thought about this as well. There's this girl in America, I think she's called Divine on the Road, and her and her boyfriend, they live in separate vans.
Honestly, I feel if we could afford it, I'm not joking, I genuinely would have another van. I just, not because obviously, we're married, so it's like, I do love her, but we do like our own space as well, don't we?
Yeah, and with the work as well, because like Emily said earlier, she's on the phone all the time. So I feel like I'm kind of in that job with her, because all I can hear is the constant bloody chitter chatter, office politics, gossip, all the stuff that comes with an office job. I can hear it all the time, so it does sometimes get a little bit intense, I think.
Yeah, and then that's when you go off with your camera and stuff.
Yeah, then
like
I go for my camera and film something, and I come back happy. So that's
So one of the questions we got in the comments is about cameras, and that is one of the perceived barriers to entry with YouTube. I think is number one, what camera do I buy, and number two, do I need a fancy camera? You know, so what's your guys' advice? Obviously, you've got some great camera skills, and we've watched some of your videos on your other channel as well, which are very, very.
You're obviously not using a phone for a lot of it.
Yeah,
I think is the point, but it's like, does it matter? Do you think you need that level of camera, or can someone do it with a phone?
Well, I think if you've got either a personality, or B, the ability to tell a story, or you've got information. So I think they're the key things in a vlog. You've either got a personality, a story, or giving people information. As long as you can do one of those, it doesn't matter whether you film on a phone, a GoPro, a fancy DSLR, a proper video camera. I think especially when you're first starting out, there's no point, because to use a proper camera, you've got to learn settings, and you've got to learn how to get that image out of it. You've got to know how to use it. So I think if you're trying to concentrate on that as well as the story, and it's too much. So I would deter anyone from buying a fancy camera to start with. I think your phone, or just a GoPro or the Osmo Action.
We had the Osmo and the GoPro to start off with.
We didn't even have the GoPro. We started on the phone, and then we had the Osmo.
The Osmo Pocket.
Yeah. So I think the first 100 vlogs were filmed on the Osmo Pocket, which is like at the time it was like a 300 quid camera, and that was it. That's all we had. So, and a drone. We had a drone. Yeah. So if you're going to do travel, I think a drone's quite key. But apart from that, I think you can do it on anything. It's just having the ability to be creative in some way, or informative, I would say.
Okay.
What cameras do you have? Honestly. Yeah. What's your main camera? What do you use for B-roll?
So now I'm using a Sony A7C,
nice.
which it's a pricey camera. I think it was about £1,800, which is a lot of money on a camera. And then it's interchangeable lenses, so that's something else you've got to bear in mind. If you're going to buy the fancy DSLR, you've then got to buy the lenses. So I'm using a 16 to 35 f4, and that's £1,000. So already you're at £2,800, and then a mic, 300 quid. So you're at £3,000 for.
I never knew it cost this much.
Yeah, the Sony A7C, and that's because I couldn't afford. I wanted the Sony A7S3. I think was the one. Yeah, I think the 4's out now, but that's still money. So.
Okay. So where did your camera and your filming skills come from? Obviously, they will have developed over time, but where was the background now?
I bought her first camera for Christmas present, didn't I, one year?
You did,
yeah. She kept dropping me hints and telling me exactly which camera she wanted, and I was reluctant to buy it for her because it was like £500. But I tell you what, best £500 I've ever spent.
Yeah, cool.
So I started with photography. So I think that's a good place for a lot of people to start. Is start with photography and sort of develop that. And if you like that, then because filmmaking's so much more involved, so I would say try photography, master the basics of that, and then maybe progress to filmmaking.
Yeah, and we would really recommend your other channel for that. I don't know what it's called, but we've watched those videos a few times where you give help with the filming and the editing and the photos and stuff. It's really fun. So
I wouldn't bother. She ain't put nothing on.
I don't think I've put a video out for about 6 months.
Really? We used to watch that a lot, didn't we? Yeah.
How long ago was it when you got your first camera? That you started?
6 years?
Okay.
No,
5 years ago, and then I think I didn't start making it. I'd never made a video or done any filming until 2.5 years ago.
Oh wow! So it's a nice. It's nice because we like the process. You know, you see someone's skills and how well they do, and you think like, I can't do that. But to think you only started 2 years ago, it makes it seem so much more achievable. You know.
And
absolutely, yeah.
Any sort of resources like Skillshare or?
Yeah, we've got Skillshare, YouTube. I've learned nearly everything, even with the van build. Everything I've learned pretty much in the last 5 years has been on YouTube or blogs.
Yeah, but the thing with Louise is, she's just one of these people that if she wants to do something, she will go give like 110%, and she will not stop until she's like really good at it. And she does so much research into something that me, within like 30 seconds, I'm gone. I'm out of the room. I'm like, I can just about do TikTok, let alone do like a full job.
Well, you need to be, though. Alex will know this, for the editing, you need to be invested in it, because editing, I mean, you're talking, I don't know, 20, 30 hours a week per vlog if you're going to do like a half hour.
That is so reassuring to hear.
Yeah, she's like, why does it take so long doing it? I'm like, it takes time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, no, you should be quicker at this.
It's why people hire editors, though, isn't it? Like,
it's a big
yeah, because it's a huge chunk. It's a huge chunk of your time. It is
giving up. I don't think as much I'd like the time. I mean, at the moment we're not making many videos anyway, but I don't think I'd like to give up that process. You know,
you've always.
I couldn't. I'd give up everything. I'd rather give up the filming than giving up the editing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That is us, isn't it? The story's told in the edit. That like most of the work is done in the edit. I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd say. Yeah.
And what do you edit with? Final Cut or your Premiere Pro? Are you?
No, DaVinci Resolve, which I would not recommend to anyone that's starting out because it's ridiculously power hungry. But yeah, I use DaVinci Resolve.
That's because you used to do your photos on there first, didn't you?
I like to, because my background was photography. I'm very much into like the color grading side of things. So yeah, DaVinci Resolve is just really good for color grading. But any of the Premiere Pro or Final Cut, they're all great. So and any of those, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a question on here actually on my notes about your color grading. I noted how I like your color grading a lot.
Color grading.
And for your thumbnails, then, do you go as far as Photoshop or is it a Canva job?
I used Canva or Photoshop. So I used to always use Canva, just the free version, not the paid version. But now I do a bit more in Photoshop. Yeah. That's just what I'm into, putting the writing behind our heads at the minute.
That's what I like that. Yeah, that's good.
That's my new thing.
Yeah, she changes it every now and then. She's just like, oh, look at this. I'm like, okay, 10 vlogs then.
Yeah, little efforts are good.
Yeah.
Do you want to ask your colour grading question? I've got many questions.
Actually, I didn't even have much of a question about colour grading. I just wanted to comment on it more than anything.
Thank you.
I'm terrible at colour grading. I'm colourblind as well, so I have to colour grade.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Does that look good? She's like, why is it all green?
It's really hard.
Yeah, because she's colourblind as well.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. And I struggle that a lot of my early photos, when I look back at them now and I've kind of adapted to it, I look at the colour temperature and we are just orange in every single we are bright orange.
Yeah. I'm so glad you've said that, because like I thought I must be the only colourblind, you know.
Yeah, you think so.
What am I doing? I'm in the wrong job here. Obviously not. That's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Should we move on to making money with YouTube?
Yeah, that's what we should move on to. So before we do that, guys, if you wanted to give one piece of advice to someone who just really wanted to start YouTube, and you know, what would you say to them? What's the most useful thing you wish you would have known in the beginning?
Just it doesn't matter. So like you're early, like a lot of people panic that they're going to look stupid and they're going to get it all wrong and the videos are going to be shit. And yes, they probably will be, but when you've only got 4 or 5 people watching, it doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
So, and the only way you're going to get better and more confident in front of the camera is to just do it, because you can always, 6 months down the line, you can always remove those videos if you want to. We haven't, we've left our shit ones up, but yeah, just do it. Because I know a lot of people that say to us, oh yeah, well in a year when I've built my van, I'm going to quit my job and start a YouTube channel. And I think that's the wrong way to do it. I think you need to start a YouTube channel, do it for a year and then quit your job if you're going to try and monetize YouTube, because you are going to be struggling for at least the first year. Unless you get lucky and you have a video blow up, you're going to be struggling for the first year. So the sooner you start, the sooner you'll get to where you want to be. That would be my tip. Just get on with it. Stop saying, oh, in a year's time, I'm going to start my YouTube channel. Don't do that. Just do it.
And be yourselves. Don't try and be other people.
Are we still on? Let me just check the data quick.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm just checking this data. I put like 8 gig across before. It should be fine.
It still says you're live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We just got
Just
a
a
big
little
scary
blip, was it?
message that we're no longer connected.
No, there's 5 gig left on there.
Okay, cool. So in terms of making money from YouTube, this is something that I was completely oblivious too before I met Alex. Your first bit of money that you got, was this from ads or from something else? Was it from YouTube ads?
No, it was from Amazon affiliates. It was
Okay.
the first money we ever made. So we started with a van build series. So we could put affiliate links. So basically you recommend an Amazon product, and then if someone buys that product, you get a few pence every time someone buys it. It doesn't cost them anymore. Amazon doesn't put the price up. That's just how it works. So I think the first money we made about 30 quid one month from Amazon affiliates. And I was like, oh,
so
look, we made 30 quid. We make 30 quid every month. That's a meal out we can have. And
And that's the best way to look at it, for sure. Okay, so then what was your next step after that?
So after that, yes, it would have been AdSense, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the first month for AdSense we made about £3, and then the second month we made about 60 quid, and then it's just gradually built up from there. But don't rely on AdSense, because it takes a long time to build up enough regular views for AdSense to be worth it. So for a long time, affiliates was more than AdSense.
Yeah.
Okay, and so at what point in your growth as YouTubers did you start looking at brand deals or accepting brand deals? How did that come about in your YouTube experience?
So they came to us because, like I said, I had no idea that a channel of our size could get brand deals or make proper money. So they came to us. We had about 14,000 subscribers when the first one come, and I only remember because we was trying to figure out what to charge. Yes. And we found on the internet, someone said if you charge £10 for every 1,000 subscribers, you'll be about right. So we was charging 140 quid for a brand deal when we had 14,000 subscribers. And we thought that was brilliant. We was like, look, 140 quid plus me 30 quid affiliates plus me 10 off.
Bloody millionaire by next year.
So yeah, and then obviously, as I think we've been doing brand deals for about 18 months, maybe a year, 18 months, something like that.
No, only a year.
So about a year, but over that year, we've gradually worked out what to charge and built it up and got much better at it. It's you need a very business mind to deal with brand deals all of the time.
And to get an idea of what you charge, what's the best way, would you say, to do that? Do you speak to other people that are doing the same sort of thing and get an idea of what they're charging, or do you kind of see what people offer you and try and figure it out from them?
So we didn't, we just winged it. And since we've got bigger, we've had a few other channels come to us and ask us. And I think I wish we'd done that. Yeah. So if you are going down that route, just reach out, because most channels will help you out. Whereas we was just guessing. So
yeah, that's it. And sometimes I don't think guessing really always works. So like, yeah, we've spoken to a few people and told them and like what we do and stuff like that, isn't it? So,
yeah, and just base it around, rather than base it around subscribers, which is what we did, base it around your views, because it's actually views that actually matter to brands, not subscribers.
And we're looking at now as well, isn't it? Like you can is the views of each video rather than the amount of people that subscribe.
Yeah, that's it. And we're trying to build up just long-standing relationships with just a few.
Yeah, because if you work with the same brand over and over and over again, it just gets much easier, because you've got all the media that you need. You know what you want to say about the product. You've used it extensively, so you understand the product and you know the contacts. So it just becomes much easier to build long-standing relationships if you can. So which is why we charge probably a little bit less than what we're worth, and then that way we get the long-term deals.
Yeah.
And do you have any way of monitoring? Kind of like, okay, you have a brand deal, you make your ad for, I think you guys have done a Y Foods one, let's use like for an example. Do you have a way of finding out, okay, is what you've made, is it work? Does someone bought it? Like, do you use
just see the analytics from them?
I think if we asked, they'd give us the information. A lot of them would tell us, but just the fact that they come back and ask you to work with them again tells us that they're doing okay. When we've done like product relationships, so for example, we did the Bear Lock, which is like a security system. Because they're usually smaller businesses and it's much more informal, they usually tell us. They're like, oh yeah, because they're excited. They're like, oh, we've had this many orders and it's going really well. So we don't know, but we assume that it does well for the brands to keep coming back. So
yeah, we probably should ask for.
Yeah, it would because eventually I guess maybe we'll reach out to, I mean, we don't do that at the minute. We don't really reach out to brands to ask for deals, but if the work ever dried up, maybe we'd start doing that. And then I think if we had data of how well they've done, that would probably help us. So we should do that, really.
Yeah, we should do that.
Do you have a media pack? Someone's asking. I can't see their username.
No, we don't. And people keep telling us we need to get a media pack.
What's a media pack?
It's like it has like all your views and your demographics, your reach and everything else, and
so you can then say how much you're going to charge for like an Instagram story, a reel, a TikTok,
how many views they can expect from that, and how many conversions. But to be honest, it's all just kind of took off so quickly that we're still kind of going, oh look, we're earning money doing YouTube. We're all
and as long as that lasts, it's amazing, right? Like if it that won't wear off as long as you enjoy it. So you're obviously doing the right thing.
Thank you. We're trying.
Yeah, we should be a little bit more professional, but I've got a spreadsheet to keep track of my invoices. What more? What do you
Okay, cool. I think for me, that's all my questions. What about you?
Then we should open it up to questions.
Yeah, so
I've seen a couple in the comments. I had one on Instagram.
You got such good advice, guys, and it's so like so valuable to hear from someone that's doing well on YouTube. So thank you so much for sharing.
No, that's it. Sometimes I just think that we're kind of like all in the same sort of boat, aren't we, really? Yeah. It's just nice to be able to talk to each other and actually get real information rather than some of the fake stuff that you hear or see and stuff like that. Do you know? So it's nice to be able to chat to each other.
I think I'd say this as well. Like if you'd have said to us 3 years ago, you're going to be working remotely and earning like pretty much equivalent to what you earn in a real-time job, I wouldn't have believed you, because my background's very practical. You had a very hands-on job. But I think there's lots of people that are doing van life YouTube, and that's great, but just because you're living in a van and you want to make money on YouTube, it doesn't mean your channel has to be about van life, right? So if your background is in, I don't know, carpentry or finance or accounts or you can make a channel about that and do it from your van, and then that way you're still working remotely, you're still getting to travel. But everyone seems to want to make van life videos, which unless you've got a passion for that, it's kind of pointless. So if you want to do YouTube, you don't have to stick to the van life niche.
Imagine if you was like a HR manager, you could do a YouTube on HR and give advice and stuff like that. And because it's informational, people would love that. People love informational stuff. So don't always just think that because you're in a van.
And your AdSense will be much more. If you can do a channel that's more informative or based around finance or anything like that, you will get paid more from AdSense because the targeted ads are much better. So van life's or travel is actually one of the lower paid AdSense ways of doing it.
You just don't have them skills.
And they're evergreen videos as well, those kind of informative ones. That's the only thing with vlogs, isn't it,
vlogs die pretty quick, don't they?
After a week they're gone, they're done, they're finished.
All that work. I'll bring one question from Instagram, which is from Nunu and Harley. I think we've kind of answered this, but I'll ask it anyway. Making a living off YouTube videos realistic? ? Pros and cons.
It's realistic if you are willing. I would say you need to commit 2 years to accepting that you might not earn any money.
Okay.
So I think that's what I was saying before. Don't say I'm gonna do this and then start a YouTube channel and earn money. You need to start your channel, learn your craft, and then maybe earn money. So I think it's realistic, and there's an audience for everybody out there in something. But it's just about finding that audience and placing yourself properly, and then making either, like I say, an entertaining or informative video. The videos have got to have value, and no one wants to watch you just having a great time all of the time. There's got to be something in there, whether it's comedy, whether you make people laugh, whether you give people information. There's got to be something in there. But definitely realistic. It's just a lot of work. That's what I think is the bit that people miss. You've got to put the
time and the effort in, and because some people think that this has just happened overnight sometimes, don't they? But they don't realise that it's been 2 years that we've been doing this, isn't it? So 2.5 years. So
yeah, exactly. And pros and cons to it?
So the pros is obviously we can work remotely, which is the main pro, really. I enjoy it. I don't have a boss. I can work my own hours.
I'm the boss.
She's my boss. Apart from that, I've got full creative control. No one's telling me what to do. So they're all of that. But on the flip side of that, you've got to motivate yourself. Like, no one's going to kick you up the arse to get on with it. If you don't make a video that week, you ain't earning any money. So and then also you've got a little bit of negativity that you have to learn to deal with from comments and whatnot. You need a thick skin or be able to ignore it. And that's about it, really, isn't it? For cons, it's just
Yeah.
It's a self-employed job, so you've got to be motivated. If you're not, it's gonna be no good. But
Yeah.
Nice. Would you like to pick a question out of the comments?
I'll pick a little one.
If anybody else has any questions,
Yeah,
to
get them in quick.
hop in. You did that Welsh thing again, then?
Yeah, I just know why I turned Welsh recently. We've got some Welsh friends here, and the accent just seems to have like stuck to me, and I don't even realise that I'm doing it at all. It's so strange, so strange. So a bit unrelated
language anyway.
yeah. A bit unrelated to the making an income, but someone's asking what plans you guys have over the next year or so. Would you plan ahead?
We try to plan, but I don't know. Our plans never go to plan.
It's pointless. We have a rough plan, so we're going to be we're going to be in the UK till about May.
Yep.
And then from May we're heading back over to the continent. We are trying to get some visas, so if we can get those, then that's going to impact where and when we go and for how long. So
until we can see if we can get the visas. The rough plan is just to head out in May.
And then probably back here for Christmas time. So we'll be out for a while.
We might just catch you then.
We'll be back in April.
End of April.
Oh, nice.
Are you going to Wales?
Yeah.
Well, yes, probably. I mean, he's talked about it for like the last year
in my hometown. So talking about this Indian restaurant for like 2 years nearly now. So
yeah, because there's a strong possibility we'll be in Wales at some point in April. So.
Yeah, we were actually talking today. We were like about Wales, weren't we? We thought we've got some friends that do some cool things in Wales, so maybe we can do something
caving
together.
And stuff. And
okay, wow, nice.
Yeah. There's something I saw here. A second. Oh yeah. So I think this is to us, but will you guys put the information somewhere to read afterwards?
Yeah. So we'll have obviously this video is going to be saved on the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to go back and watch it anyway and gather all your own information, but we will have like a little summary in the Facebook group that you'll be able to look over and see some of the previous interviews that we've done as well.
And there's a book coming.
There is a book coming in January.
2021 wasn't it?
Yeah, it was supposed to be 2021, but you know, life happens. So there'll be loads of information about how people earn on the road. We've talked to so many people and got information and their best advice, and so that should be really good for people as well.
Couple more coming in. Take a couple more.
Are any of you going to?
We're going to Quirky Campers.
We're not, are we?
Where are we going? Where are we going? With Steve Radford?
I don't know. I didn't know what Quirky Campers.
Yeah, no, we're going to Quirky Campers.
Yeah, we're going to Quirky. You'll be going to Stratford at the Overland Show, I think.
Right,
are
you going to that? In June, right?
You'll be gone.
We'll be gone, I think. Yeah, so we'll be out of the country. But if we're in the country, then yes, we'll go. But we should be out of the country.
We're hoping to be out by then. Yeah. So Quirky Campers at the moment is the only one that we're doing this year.
The only definite one.
Is that? What time of year is that?
It's May.
It's May, yeah.
Oh, okay. April, May.
Yeah.
Okay. know how to bring them out.
Someone said that Lou and Em introduced us to the KVM channel.
That's your one, is it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well, the Kite Van Man channel, there was 3 channels that I came across right at the beginning, and it was Alex's van build costs video. I think was the first ever one I saw.
Okay.
And there when I filmed that.
Was I really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's weird to think.
Yeah. Anyway, we lived
next door to each other for like 3 months in our vans and we just never spoke.
Filming that video, Amy was a few vans down, but then we met up again years later.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then after that, I saw one of you in Wales, but it was the one of you was in the cold somewhere in the French Alps, and that was those were the very early videos. You, the Explorers, and I think the Indie Projects were the other one, and that was my first foray into like van life vlogs.
Yeah, I think Mr. and Mrs. Adventure and the Indie Projects were the first ones that I ever saw. Yeah. Go on.
I was going to say you need to put more videos out.
Yeah, we don't really make videos. I watched You know what? You'd be surprised. I love making these videos, but Alex is just, you've got a lot on, haven't you, at the moment? So you've taken a step back from it.
And I do love making videos. If I had my, I'd just make them all day long. But it's just I've got other commitments at the moment. I've recently committed. I'm going to edit an hour a day in the morning before the day starts. Just get an hour done, and then like if I do that, I should be able to get a video out every 2 weeks.
It's just so much fun, like so much fun, and like, for me, it brings out a creative side of me that I never knew I had. I don't know about you guys. Yeah.
Do you enjoy the editing? Have you tried the editing side of it?
I love it. Yeah. I'm just, it's just not worth me doing because it takes me about 10 times the amount of time. But sometimes, if there's a bit that I've got an idea for, I'll sit and I'll just edit that little sequence, and then Alex will do the rest. So I've really enjoyed getting into the editing. Yeah, really.
Yeah, see, I like thinking of ideas. And then I go, Louise, I want to do this.
Implement it.
Like, so this needs to happen, like zoom from here, and then this happens. Whoa, hang on now.
Slow down. I haven't got a boom or a slider or any of the stuff you want me to have. I've got a GoPro.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's about it. There's just one more that I'm just going to touch on because they might have just popped in early. So there's one question saying, do you earn a full-time wage while working on the road? So
I just want to do this.
Da-da. Ah, okay, look at that. That's nice.
Oh, it's a shame that the username didn't come up in that.
Yeah. So Emily, obviously you have taken your job remote. It says full-time. Did you say you work part-time in your job now? Is that correct?
Part-time, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then the rest of your guys' income is from YouTube, which is combined.
Yeah. And it's only the last few months, I would say, I've earned what I would have earned if I was working. So like a proper wage. So before that, I was earning far less than what I ever earned working. I was probably doing about 20 hours a week more. So, but now, yes, we are fully financially self-sufficient from YouTube and your job, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, guys. It's been so
brilliant.
Nice to connect with you.
No problem at all.
Been a pleasure, and hopefully we can see you in Wales, and Alex, you can train AJ.
Yeah, looking forward to April.
Yeah.
We're not going.
Snowdon, right? That's got to be the first spot, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Cool. For sure. Well, have a lovely night, guys, and thank you again. And
no problem. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining and commenting the questions.
Yes, I've seen there's some friendly faces in the comments.
Yes,
so
hello guys.
Everyone that's in the comments.
It's really weird doing somebody else's live because you don't keep track of them, right? It's
it's bizarre. This is a nice little system to use actually because everything's kind of in one place.
I'm not sure if it's working there properly. Can you guys see on the live? Can you see that like question up on the bottom of the screen, the lower thirds? Can you see it? The lower thirds thing? No.
Oh, we got excited for no reason.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll figure it out next time.
There's like a little button, so when the questions or comments come in, you click show and it comes up on the lower thirds, Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, that was fun on our end.
Right. Snowdon. Okay, cool.
Thank you very much.
Have a lovely Sunday night, and thank you again.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.